What's up, YouTube? Today I'm going to be showing you my Bioshock collection in 2024. As you can see, we got quite a little bit of a lineup. Now these are really old figures now. They weren't whenever I was young, of course. Some of these I got whenever I was young, some of these I bought as an adult. But I figured we would just go and show you what I've got. So we're going to go start with the one that started it all, this one. Now this is my bouncer. This is a NECA. All these are NECA. And I bought this one, I want to say whenever I was probably 10 years old. Maybe older than that. I don't have a very good memory, so we won't say a for sure age, but yeah, as you can see, he's had a little bit of wear and tear over the years. It's been fixed, but you know, you can only do so good with these. And of course, like most of these figures, it's missing a tank and a few little odds and ends that was on it that aren't now. Like for instance, I don't know if you could see it, that little weight that's supposed to be on that side, that is on that side, it's not there. So a few little things broke off this, but it's okay. This figure had a lot of play. I mean, I put it through the ringer over the years because, you know, as a kid, me being like a super fan of Bioshock, it was just destined. I mean, of course I was going to play with it. Some of these I wish I would have kept in box, but of course I didn't. That's enough about him. So I'm going to put him down here. We're going to review the second one. Now, there is another one that should be here, but it's not currently. And that's due to it getting lost with him moving. And I'm sure it's somewhere around my mother's house. I don't know, I haven't really checked, but that other figure would be the big sister, which is from the Bioshock 2 line. Now this here was the other figure that I got, and this I got for Christmas. This was new in the box, same with, you know, the bouncer. But, of course, me being a kid, I took him out. Now, there's going to be a little fun fact. As you can see, he's missing the tanks and his little grill visors, or whatever you want to call that. His glass bars. There's two bars that go here and here, and you know, one on the side. It's missing them all the way around. And of course, as I said before, I really played with these figures. I mean, it was almost an everyday thing as a child. But fun little fact about this figure: this gun is not the figure that this came with. I think I said that right. This gun did not come with this figure. This is actually a gun from another figure, and I'll explain that later as we get on through the review or showcase. So he's still pretty much intact. As far as gluing, I've never really glued anything on him, so he's good. And like with the bouncer, the only thing I ever glued was, you know, his grill, because those are notorious to break, and I'll show you that in the next figure that I review. So that's the Rosie, found in Bioshock 1 and 2. And there is an Elite edition of this, same as what we're getting ready to get into with the Elite bouncer behind there. But yeah, go ahead and put him down there. And of course, we have the original cover art. It is in rolled, I guess you would say. I'm not really sure what the terminology would be for it. It's textured, that's the word. The textured cover of the original game. And it is an immaculate shape, so that definitely had to be displayed. Wasn't my first copy, but I found this at a deal for like $5, and it in this good of shape, so I bought it. But moving on, we now have the Elite bouncer. Now this would pretty much be my third figure. This is whenever I got back into the hobby. of collecting these figures in particular, and I'll explain what happened. Of course, I had the Bouncer, the Big Sister, and Rosie, and after that, NECA quit making these figures. You couldn't find them. You could on eBay, but of course, I was really young and I did not work because I wasn't old enough, I assume, and I couldn't afford, nor did I really care to look for these figures, because at the time, I mean, the Bouncer, I think it was $15 in box where I purchased it from. It might have been a little bit more than that. I'm not quite sure. It might have been 25. Either way, it was still not that much compared to what these figures are going for on eBay now. You will be lucky to find these figures, even out of the box, loose, for cheap. And a lot of these is that case. Some of these are a little expensive. This one was one of those. Now, what I was talking about earlier with the gluing, this figure did not look like this when I first got it. This has been in bubble wrap and in storage in box, and it has done this on its own. I don't know if it was just laying on its grill or what the deal is, but it has misformed. So it's susceptible to break. That's why I'm easy with this figure in particular. That and his drill is also very flimsy. It does come off on this figure. You can see it's got quite a bit of play there, and I don't like that. So yeah. But he, just like the other one, still missing a tank. Now, I gave $80 for him. Actually, it was my girlfriend who purchased this for me. This was a Christmas gift. And actually, 3 of these will be in that case. But yeah, this was a very, very sought after figure for me. The Elite was always just one of those oddball figures you didn't really think about, but whenever you saw it, it was like, okay, I gotta have that. But anyway, yeah, so this figure is highly detailed, as you can tell. This is still a Bioshock 1, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't played Bioshock in years. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a Bioshock 1 piece. Of course, the boxes will say Bioshock 2, but, you know, this was in Bioshock 1, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, don't take my word for it. Just play the game. That'll tell you. That's enough about this figure. Okay, the next one. This, I'm going to have to move that over to showcase this. This is a holy grail for me. It's not really that big of a deal, but they were in box. The box was in, I mean, insanely great shape. The figures were in, I mean, still are in great shape. And I had to purchase it. So this is the Splicer combo pack. It came with the Spider Splicer and the Ladysmith. As you can tell, these figures are highly detailed. And I mean, they are detailed. Now, one thing I will say about these figures, not just the Splicers, but the Bioshock NECA figures in general, they were extremely brittle. I'm not sure what the problem was, if it was just the plastic they used or the paint, which I'm sure the paint didn't really have much to do with it, but these figures were extremely brittle, and it didn't take much, probably one tiny fall to break pieces off of these. So that is why I chose to keep these 2 in box. They're too nice to take out, and, you know, they're valuable. But anyways, moving on. So my next 2. Now, of course, any Bioshock collector is going to know this is not a part of the figure line, period. This little gun here, I made this. And the reason being is I got 2 identicals. You know, these 2. And I'm pretty sure these are the Subject Omegas, I think. See, there's the Alpha, the Omega, and Delta. Of course, we all know who Delta is. I used to know all the stuff, but I get things mixed up very, very bad. It's just a habit. Now, one thing that kind of threw me off with these two figures individually is this little, and I'm not sure if all of them are like this, and I don't know if you can really see it, but right in the crevice of that helmet seam is like a really like cyan blue color. Okay, if you go over to here, you'll see the same thing on this figure as well. I'm not sure what that is. I know it's paint. Maybe it's an adhesive color. I don't know exactly why that was done that way, because if we look at other figures, they're not that way. And of course, I can prove to you with the next figure I'm going to show you that, you know, these molds are all the same, just different paint jobs. So anyway, these are the two, and of course, one of them actually has their tanks. Imagine that. And then the other one has one tank. Both are the same figure, just, you know, twins, I guess you could say. And I bought them mainly because there were two, and I was going to convert, and I'll explain this in a second. I was going to convert one of them over to Subject Delta, and I believe it was going to be this one. But I later decided against it, of course, because I bought Delta, and I'll explain that story too as we go on. But anyway, I'm just going to kind of showcase this little gun. It has a little oddball thing that I built and painted. It's literally just model car parts and some rustic looking paint. And of course, you can see a little bit of blue coming out in it, and that was an accident, but I kind of liked it because it kind of gave a little bit of like a rustic sea, you know, just aquamarine kind of vibe going there. But yeah, these figures, I mean, I love them greatly. But of course, I had to have the one I've always wanted, and this was my favorite figure and still is out of this whole collection. And of course, you already have seen it, but I'm going to go ahead and show you anyway, and that's Subject Delta. And yes, I do have his other arm. This figure in particular came interchangeable with the drill arm, and then, you know, the regular just hand, arm, whatever. And I'm going to give a little bit of a story on this figure. So this figure did not come with the little sister. She came with one of the two that I just showed you, the Omegas, I think is what they were. And I bought Subject Delta for, I think it was $70 on eBay. And the people were, I mean, they had him in their cart. There was probably 5 or 6 that had him in their cart. And I stumbled across him, and he was in great shape, I mean, for me. And it was a Subject Delta, and not only was, you know, the figure there, but as I said earlier, this gun for my Rosie was also there, which it is broke, but this piece always breaks on these guns, and along with this one, but that one's intact, that little lever. But it came with that, and my Rosie at the time didn't have a gun, like I was mentioning earlier, so I bought it because it kind of all worked out. This has happened to me multiple times, you know, where I buy figures on eBay, and they come with stuff that my other figures needed. It's a weird, common occurrence, but it does happen. It happens a lot in my case. But a few little things are missing, like his little drill guard there. It's gone. He's an extremely loose figure. I mean, I'm barely touching him, and he pivots at the waist. That's the only place he's really loose in. And of course, he's missing his other tube or hose, which sucks because, you know, that's kind of a key component to any Subject Bioshock figure, whether that be Omega or, you know, Delta. But there is a really nice paint job, and as you can see, as I was mentioning earlier, if this thing will focus, there is no cyan colored line on that helmet seam. So I guess that was just something on the Omega figures. I'm not really sure. But anyway, we're going to take a little sister off here. And hopefully her arm decides not to pop off this time. This arm on this figure was not in the greatest shape, as you can see. But this is little sister. She's still very well intact. Most of these figures, like I was saying earlier, they're really brittle. I mean, as you can see, this arm could just, I can move it and it just pops off. I always put it back, but it happens. I'm going to set her over there. And we're going to give you a full view of Delta now. So, he's just like the Omega figures, any subject figure. They're all the same. And I'll show you that right here. Let me get this guy up here. If you look closely at this hand and this hand, they're the same mold. And then you look at the patches and the seams and the crevices on the pants and all the way up to the helmet. They're the same mold. Now that one has a little bit of different paint compared to that one in the visor and the little lights there. Of course, the lights are going to be different, but either way, you can still tell they are the same mold. There's no difference, and they done that obviously to save money and time, whatever. I mean, the deltas are pretty much identical, or not the deltas, I'm so sorry. The subjects are usually pretty much identical throughout the game. So, you kind of can't really blame them for going that route. I mean, I think, why would you make another mold for a figure that's basically the same thing as this one? I mean, it all just kind of falls hand in hand. But I'm going to show an honorable mention. Now, this is not done. I've been trying to find time to work on this for a few months. It's been kind of hard too. I work 6 days a week. It's very hard to get time to kind of mess with this stuff still. But here's a little concept that I've been coming up with. It's not really a concept. I've seen it done other places, but I took my own spin on it. And really the only idea that I took from another user was this Fiji water bottle. And this is going to be a replica Eve Hypo. Now, they did make this as a figure prop. By figure prop, I mean it was life-size scale, but it was, a replica of the Eve Hypo from the game. But finding one is very expensive, and I haven't got around to buying one yet. I still might, but I like the idea that I can use this base idea, or this idea of how I've got this made and what I used to make it, to make all kinds of hypos. Like a health hypo and an Eve and whatnot, what have you. But yeah, this was just kind of an honorable mention, and I tried a little bit of a paint scheme there, but I decided I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to use an Odin Makes method. I don't know if you've seen him, but if you haven't, go watch his channel. He takes like a hair gel and food colors it and puts it in a shoot, what are they called? I can't remember off the top of my head. Like I said, it's been so long. But anyway, he uses that to give the effect of what's inside, this. So yeah, that's the idea I'm going to go with. And, he also uses lights, and I could easily stick a little tiny LED and wire it up and put a little watch battery, whatever. Anything small would work, and it would look great. But that's just one of my little props that I've kind of been working on over time. But yeah, that is my Bioshock collection. Also, forgot to mention, here's Bioshock 2, one of my favorite games. Of course, you're not going to see anything from Infinite up here. I do love Infinite, but it is not my game. It's just not a thing I enjoy. I have played it, I've tried it, and I've tried to beat it several times, and I just get lost midway through the game, and I lose interest. But thank you guys for watching, and hopefully you find this video a little bit entertaining or informative, whatever. It doesn't matter either way. Just wanted to showcase, you know, some of the things that I'm very passionate about, and you're going to see that a little bit more as we go on this channel. This is not the only things I collect. I collect horror figures, figures that I loved from a child, and just really rare stuff you can't hardly find, and these are becoming that rare. That they've been that way for a few years, and now it's just become kind of scalperish, if you want to call it that. You know, people will buy these cheap if they can find them, and they will resell them for ungodly amounts of money. I've seen multiple collections that people have had over the years on eBay for like $6,000. And that's the full Bioshock 1 and 2 figure collection. That's all of it. And yes, they are in box, and they are worth a lot, but it's just kind of crazy that these figures, you know, I had when I was a child, and still have today, bring that much money. But that's a lot of cases, so. But anyway, that's a video from another time. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Doesn't matter to me. As long as you're hanging in and watching the video, that's all I care about. Not really. I'm glad you're here. Anyways, we'll see you next time.